this is Mission Control, Houston. Another 5 minutes away from reacquisition through Botswana. During the just completed press conference, the crew of Columbia did the OMS 3 burn on time, totally nominal. Measurements of the orbit now 131.7 by 148.0. And at this time we'll play catch-up by replaying the accumulated air-ground tapes, be compressed somewhat, not in actual time sequence, but and we'll go live as we complete the tape playback.
Columbia, Houston to Yargadi for the
This is Mission Control Houston at 7 hours 19 minutes. We're now finished with playback of the accumulated air ground tape. Coming up on Guam in 1 minute and 18 seconds. We're standing by for that pass.
Columbia, Houston to Guam for the next 7.5 minutes. We're going to be shipping you a weather teleprinter message during this pass, and we got a few more items for you.
Okay, Hank, and for you, the previous messages that you gave me, the block update, the test message, and the weather message were all good. I did verify that. Also, I'm looking at an ohms cross-speed bulkhead mid-temp that's been running around between 49 and 50 degrees. In fact, it just started to warm up a little bit. That was had given me a message a while ago, but it looks like it's coming back up now, and I did not do anything to it. And I'm go.
Roger, Cripp, I copy that, and we'll take a look at it. And we would like for you to, we see you're in Ops 2, we'd like you to delay there, and we want to send a text uplink message to you.
Okay, understand a text uplink to the mass memory area?
That's affirmative. And it'll be number 914.
9014.
And your teleprinter message should be on the way, and we're going to use APU number 1 for the checkout.
Copy that, APU number 1.
Columbia, Houston, at your convenience, we'd like for you to clean up the cross feed from ohms 4.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much.
And Columbia, at your convenience, we're ready to run through the DFI recorder check again.
Okay, Hank, let's have it.
Okay, let us mull that one, and then we'll have another step for you. Okay, Cripp, we'd like now to take the DFI PCM recorder rotary to playback reverse and give us a mark.
Okay, we're going playback reverse, mark. And the talkback is gray.
Okay, we copy that. Okay, we've got a clock going on your Cripp, and what should happen is that in 5 minutes the talkback should go to barber pole.
Okay, Hank, this is what we did before, and it did not go to barber pole. We ran it for at least 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Columbia, Houston, we're not getting the return core tone on the teleprinter. When you tore those messages off down there, did you happen to move that switch?
It did not have. Let me take a look at it, Hank.
Okay, just whatever was out of configuration before, maybe it happened again.
No, what was out of configuration before was the CCU power was off, and it is still on.
Okay, we copied that.
Okay, my little green light is out, too, on it. Well, no, wait a minute. The green light in the front is still there. That's still in auto. Everything looks normal, according to what I can see.
Columbia, Houston, we're about 45 seconds from LOS. Spec 914 is on board. And if by 7:31 MET there, the talkback has not gone to barber pole on that DFI recorder, we'd like for you to go ahead and pull the circuit breaker.
Roger, we understand.
And we'll see you at Buckhorn at 7:44.
Okay. Okay, Henry.
This is Mission Control Houston. Loss of signal through the Guam station, 14 minutes and 48 seconds until reacquisition through the stateside series of tracking stations. Crew aboard Columbia continuing to troubleshoot the bulky teleprinter, DFI package in the cargo bay. Apparently one of the recorders will continue running if all of the circuits are up and on. Perhaps they should have carried Pete Conrad Skylab hammer with them. It's 7 hours 29 minutes into the flight, 7 hours 30 minutes. This is Mission Control, Houston.
Buckhorn, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, Air Ground 1.
Buckhorn, Comtech.
Roger, read you loud and clear. How many?
Reading you 5 by.
Meet you Air Ground 2. Houston, Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end of test. Roger, configure for pass.
Goldstone Comtech, Tula Comtech, Mila Comtech, Quito Comtech on air to ground 1 and 2.
Houston Comtech, Tula Comtech, air to ground 1. Goldstone Comtech, air to ground 1.
Roger, this is Houston Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
Houston Comtech, Tula Comtech, air to ground 1.
Go ahead, Tula. Go ahead, Tula, air to ground 1. Houston Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, test out. Goldstone Comtech, Houston Comtech, air to ground 1. Goldstone Comtech, Houston Comtech, air to ground 2. Quito Comtech, Houston Comtech, air to ground 1 and 2. Goldstone Comtech, Tula Comtech, Mila Comtech, Quito Comtech, Houston Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, test out.
Houston Comtech, Mila Comtech, voice keying and modulation 100%.
Thank you, Mila. Configure for your pass, please.
Houston Comtech, Goldstone Comtech, keying 100%, modulation go.
Thank you, Goldstone. Configure for your pass, please.
Houston Comtech, Tula Comtech, 100% keying.
Thank you, Tula. Configure for your pass. Quito Comtech, Houston Comtech, air to ground 1 and 2.
This is Mission Control, Houston, 20 seconds away from reacquisition through Goldstone and most of the stateside tracking stations. Standing by for some further reporting by the crew on troubleshooting the DFI recorder problem. Should have acquisition at this time.
Columbia, Houston, we're with you stateside for 14 and a half minutes.
Roger that, Hank. Okay, Hank, and we're ready to start up an APU.
And Houston's ready. Cripp, go ahead.
Oh, you're ready. Can you say again?
I cut my UHF off again. Seems like this particular site is really grim with SIMO. We're ready for the start, Cripp.
Okie dokie. Incidentally, that recorder did not turn itself off. I ended up having to pull the breaker.
Roger, we copy. Thank you, Cripp.
Okay, we're starting the surface drive.
Okay, and just a reminder, don't start the secondary actuator check until we give you a go.
Roger that. Okay, we've done it long enough, and we can go ahead and terminate it.
You're clear?
Henry, you still with us?
That's affirmative.
Okay, we got to go.
Okay, you have a go for secondary actuator checks.
Roger that.
Channel 1 looks good. Channel 2 looks good. Channel 3 looks good.
Okay, Hank, all those look good to us. We're standing by for your go for the shutdown.
Okay, looks good to us too, Cripp. You're clear to shut her down.
Roger that. Okay, Hank, all that looked good to us.
Everything looked real fine to us, Cripp.
Okay, good go. We're ready to go back and off 6.
Okay, we're ready for that, Cripp. And while you're doing that, if John could answer a couple of questions for us, we had some items in the checklist that we were trying to verify that did get accomplished. For example, back in the PDP, there was a call out for the annunciator caution warning lamp tests and the fire and smoke detection test. Did those get accomplished?
That's affirmative. They sure did.
Okay, and there's been a query also regarding the whole gas samples and the solid sorbent sampling.
Yeah, that's all done. We would have told you if we didn't have done them. Honest, Henry.
You do super work, guys.
We got about the neatest place to work you've ever seen, I'll tell you that. Except you sure hard to keep your eyeballs inside the cockpit doing your work.
And Columbia, Houston, did you ever have a chance to see if you got Spec 914 on board?
No, Hank, I haven't got around to it yet. I'll give you a holler when I do.
Don't look now. We just wondered if you had. And also, we think we've got your teleprinter message on board with the weather data.
Okay, I heard that coming up a while ago. We looking right down at White Sands here?
The little airplane looks like it ought to be pretty much right over it.
Okay, you can see it from here.
Columbia, Houston, for info, we're advised that your launch is the #1 news story around the world today.
It certainly was in here. That launch control team did a super job down there, as well as our guys.
Well, we got a minute here in the cap on page 2-6, coming up at 8 hours and 20 minutes. There's a call out there for the vacuum inerting procedure, and we would like for you to do that procedure even if your pressure does read 0, and then we want a chance to verify that procedure before you terminate it.
Okay, I understand, Hank. And I believe we just came across Corpus Christi there, Henry.
Columbia, Houston, say again.
It's like we just passed over Corpus.
Right, should have been through there just a couple minutes ago.
Okay.
On that vacuum inerting, Cripp, you will read 0 on the gauge. We'd like for you to do the vacuum inerting for 30 minutes. And when we're satisfied the pressure is 0, we're going to go ahead and have you inhibit the LH2 manifold pressure, but do that on our call.
Roger that. I understand, Hank.
And Columbia, just for info, the The upcoming pass and the next one through the South Atlantic anomaly should be the ones of maximum activity. It is nighttime there, and you should have a good aurora out to the south. And if you do not get the smoke alarm triggered in either one of those passes, you're probably not going to have it occur.
Okay, Hank. And Hank, for your info, I still have not worked the noise level survey. I'll get on that pretty shortly.
Okay, we'll be ready for the results whenever you get done.
Okay.
Columbia, Houston, we see terminate idle on the Y tracker at your convenience. We need to get spec 22 up and do an item 3.
Yeah, Hank, I think across the ops transitions, it does that itself.
Okay, Crippen.
Okay, it's no longer idling. Okay.
And for info, we sent up some table maintenance to you on 3 different sets of parameters. They should be on board now.
Okay, and we'll just forget the DFI recorders on the RCS test. Is that okay?
Say again.
Hank, we're getting ready to do the RCS test. Since we don't have the DFI recorders, we're assuming we're going to proceed on with all tests. That's called out unless you tell us different.
That's affirmative, Crippen. We want to go ahead with the test without the recorder.
You still there, Hank?
Roger, we're still there, and we'll be sending you a teleprinter message up with the Timbu updates that we've made.
Roger that. We're looking at your message 914. We concur.
Roger.
Message came.
Columbia, Houston, we've got you about another minute and 20 seconds on Quito, and understand that the text uplink message was good shape.
The one that came up on the past memory was okay.
Okay, that's the one we were concerned about. It came through ungarbled.
That's firm, and now we're getting one from the teleprinters printing out something here.
Roger, this should be the update to your Timbus.
Okay.
And Columbia, for info, we're about 40 seconds from LOS. We see the ASIS still on, and Guam is our next site, 0859, almost an hour from now. Columbia, Houston, in the blind, we still see the ACES on. We need to get them off.
Okay.
And Guam is next at 0859.
Okay, and ACES are off.
Thank you, sir.
This is Mission Control, Houston. Loss of signal through Quito, Ecuador, UHF relay station. 54 minutes away from next contact at the tracking station on the island of Guam. We'll return at that time. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Mission Control, Houston. The measurement of Columbia's orbit after the Holmes 4 burn, which was made back during the press conference, and the playback of that was done after the end of the press conference. Current measurement is 149.3 nautical miles at apogee and 147.6 nautical miles at perigee. 48 minutes away from Guam. This is Mission Control at 8 hours 10 minutes into the flight of Columbia.
Guam Comtech, this is Houston Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, test out.
Mission Control, Houston
Columbia,
here.
Houston through Guam for the next couple of minutes. It was a real low pass. We may not read you for the whole pass.
Okay, we read you loud and clear, Houston. The vacuum inerting terminate's been going for 44 minutes. And finished the RCS jet test, and through a procedural error, we proved that the jet fail-off does work, but all the rest of the stuff looked okay.
Roger, we copy, and we see the manifold pressure. You're clear to terminate the vacuum inert, and to you can go ahead and inhibit the LH2 pressure on the C&W.
Okay, clear to terminate vacuum inert and okay to inhibit the LH2 pressure on the C&W. We'll do it.
And you're clear for your item 48.
And we'll get the item 48. Thank you.
Columbia, Houston, we've noticed that you've had another propellant thermal pod. Do you recall what parameter it was that set that off? Columbia, Houston, we're about 50 seconds to LOS.
That's negative right now. I'll have to talk to Crippen. He's down below right now.
Okay, and one little cleanup, John. Over on L1 there, we'd like to get the water pump loop 1 to GPC.
Oh, yeah.
And we're about 20 seconds to LOS. Stateside is next at a 9:19.
Okay.
This is Mission Control, Houston. 9 hours, 1 minute into the flight of Columbia. Apparently the flight control checkout went very well aboard Columbia, as reported by Commander John Young. Upcoming over the States, some 17 minutes from now, perhaps a little after acquisition, will be TV pass, a report by John Young of the status of the flight from the flight deck. This TV pass lasts approximately 6 minutes or thereabouts, depending on how long they keep the camera up. We'll return in 16 minutes for the stateside pass, or an abbreviated stateside pass along the west coast. Mission Control, Houston. Now we're getting a playback of the launch again on the large color Idafor. 9 hours, 2 minutes. Elapsed time, 16 minutes to AOS Goldstone.
Houston Comtech, Tula Comtech, air to ground 1.
Roger, Tula, Goldstone Comtech, Houston Comtech. Goldstone Comtech, Houston Comtech, air to ground 1 and 2.
Goldstone Comtech, air to ground 1.
Roger, this is Houston Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, test out.
Houston Comtech, Tula Comtech, copy 5 about 100% King.
Roger, Tula, configure for your pass, please.
Roger.
Houston Comtech, Goldstone Comtech, keen 100%, modulation, let's go.
Roger, Goldstone, configure for your pass, please.
Roger.
Buckhorn Comtech, Houston Comtech, air to ground. Buckhorn Comtech, Houston Comtech, air to ground.
Buckhorn Comtech, reading you 5 by, air ground 1.
Roger, I read you 5 by on air ground 1. I'm on air ground 1 and 2. How copy on 2?
Reading you 5 by and 2 also.
This is Houston Comtech testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. End of test.
Houston
Houston Comtech, Buckhorn Comtech, reading you with 100% keen and modulations go.
Roger, configure for your pipe.
This is Mission Control Houston. About 35 seconds away from acquisition through Goldstone, Buckhorn, and Tula Peak. Upcoming on this pass will be onboard television. Status of the flight from John Young on the flight deck.
Columbia, Houston, we're with you stateside for 8.5 minutes. We'll be shipping your state vector Ketos to the stateside pass. I've got your supply water dump quantities you'll be needing here a little later, and I got a few more items to discuss with you while we're waiting to get the TV up.
Roger that, Hank, and we're standing by to do the TV whenever you guys want to, and go ahead with any items.
Okay, so a few words on your consumable status. Your APUs are right on nominal, or maybe just a little bit ahead of the time or on the quantities, both water and fuel. The RCS, your forward RCS is down about 0.5%, and your aft right and aft left are each down about 2 to 3%. So we're coming along real good on consumables.
Okay. Boy, I tell you, those big normal RCS jobbies really get your attention in here. It's much nicer flying on the verniers.
Okay, that's a good input. We're going to have a handover here, and when we come out, I'd like to find out where the freeze-dry dump is on the tape. Okay, handover's complete. Cripp, if you could tell us where the freeze-dry is.
Roger that. It's on recorder 2, track number 4, in reverse, 52%, done at 8:14.
We copy. And we're ready for the TV anytime.
Okay, Hank, I'm coming at you with a flight deck camera. Got a picture of John up here in the CDR seat, and you might tell me how your reception is.
Okay, we've got a good picture, Cripp.
Okay, that's the TV status report. The flight so far has gone as smooth as it could possibly go. We've done every test that we're supposed to do, and we're up on the timeline, and the vehicle has just been performing beautifully, much better than anyone ever expected to do on a first flight, and no systems are out of shape. Just an example, we did 3 star tracker alignments in less time than it takes to do 1 star tracker alignment in the Mission Simulator. All the RCS jets have been fired, and the vehicle is just performing like a champ. It's really beautiful. And it's delightful up here in zero gravity, I might add. Of course, we owe this to a lot of people. There's one in particular I'd like to pay our respects to, who, if he was here now, would really be having a lot of fun. He was a man for the country, and there aren't many like him. Tiger Teague, I guess y'all all know him. And, of course, there's many other people we can pay our respects to. If we start down the line of all the folks we owe, we'd be here till tomorrow. But we certainly want to thank everyone who has helped get this thing airborne, and can take great pride in it's doing so well right now.
Okay, John, sure, we appreciate those comments.
We're going to switch to the back now, and Cripp's going to tell you how things went in the back of the ship.
And Cripp, for info, your mother and Jenny and the girls are all in the viewing room watching.
Oh, my gracious. Okay, we're switching over to the aft camera here. Now we're showing the aft deck. How's that picture look to you?
It's coming in real good.
Okay, Hank. Yeah, I'd like to echo John's words as I usually do. I guess being the so-called rookie on this flight, I had a thrill from the moment of liftoff all the way up to what we're doing now. It's really been super. The spacecraft has worked as advertised all the way along. A few little minor problems, but nothing of significance. I guess the major one you guys are working on down there is dealing with some of our instrumentation. But I think we've got something that's really going to mean something to the country and the world. This vehicle is performing like a champ, like all of us that have worked so long on it knew that you would. I guess in acknowledging people that have done a lot for the program, I think it's only right that we mention a couple of guys that gave their lives a few weeks ago in our countdown demonstration test, John Bjornstad and Forrest Cole. They believed in the space program. It meant a lot to them. I'm sure they'd be thrilled to see where we have the vehicle now. Our hat is off to those guys. But it's been fun. We think the rest of the mission is looking forward to working with you guys and looking forward to landing in Edwards a couple days from now. And unless you got some questions, Hank, I guess that does it.
That was a good time, and I think you must have practiced. We're just about to lose your Goldstone.
Just accident. That doesn't scare you.
We caught that just as anticipated.
All right. We just had to prove really zero gravity.
We would like to know one thing. Is it a little easier to get between the mid-deck and the flight deck than it is in the SMS?
Oh, yeah, quite a bit easier. Although then there's some learning curve to being able to maneuver things around a little bit. So that has taken a little bit of time extra. I think that took a little bit more time than the added flexibility of getting back and forth. I can dash down there and back real quick, like to throw a switch or something like that, or to go back and find a teleprinter message. But if I got to go get something out of a locker or connect something up or something like that, it usually takes me just a little bit longer. And I think that's just a little bit learning curve.
Okay, we copy that, and you've got to go to turn off the APU fuel pump valve cooling.
Roger that.
Okay, we were starting to get an echo there, so I've gone back to air-to-ground 1 only. And we had a question for you, Crippen. We've got about a minute left. When you got through cleaning out the cabin fan screens, you went back to fan A instead of Bravo. Was there a reason for that?
I'd better ask John. He was driving a fan. Yeah. Fan Bravo's on right now, Henry. Where y'all go?
I got that backwards. We want to go back to the original configuration unless you have some other reason.
Okay, you got fan Alpha. Tell Stevie McClendon we just got his test in for him.
Okay, we're about 20 seconds from LOS. We'll be coming up on Quito next at 9:32, and there we would like to question you about the water alert and the propellant thermal pod alerts that you got, and find out if you can you give us the parameters that caused it.
No, we're not going to be able to help you there, I'm afraid. Keeps going away.
Okay, we'll talk to you at Quito.
Houston, contact you, contact Air Ground 1.
Roger, Quito, you're loud and clear. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test out.
Houston, contact you, contact 100% keen, voice go.
Roger, Quito, we will be uplinking teleprinter at your site. We would like you in comm configuration Lima, and at this time I will put modulator on air to ground 2 for H5 interface for Lima.
Roger. Houston, contact you, contact.
This is Mission Control, Houston. We've had loss of signal through Tula Peak. Quito, Ecuador coming up in 2 minutes 52 seconds, at which point another teleprinter message will be passed up with routine onboard instructions, block data, etc. There will be a replay, I understand, of the just completed status report by the crew on television after Quito LOS at 9 hours 30 minutes into the flight of Columbia. This is Mission Control, Houston.
Columbia, Houston to Quito for the next 6.5 minutes. We have a state vector coming your way. We'll also be shipping you a teleprinter message with the block data for Orbit 12. We're changing sites to Rota. And we need to change the GNC variable parameter down list. If you could give us a CRT with GNC Spec 1.
Okay, you want GNC Spec 1?
That's 40, sir.
Okay, you got the dip utility on DEU 1.
And Columbia, Houston, are you ready for the IMU accelerometer, Cal?
Okay. Okay, the DAP's off. The DAP is off. We're in pulse and flash evaporator's off. And Crippen's holding still. Trying to.
We need manual on the DAP.
Okay, sorry about that. You got it?
And are the recorders on? DFI recorders, wideband?
Okay, wideband. We have not got the wideband. Let's see. Do they want you want a cal on that before we do it? We didn't get that cal in.
We ought to be okay if they just let her rip, and we're ready to receive.
Okay. Okay, would you like a cal afterwards?
It's not required, Cripp.
Okay.
And the teleprinter message is coming your way, and you say you don't recall the parameter that kicked off that propellant thermal pod here, or some...
the propellant one I do. I'd reported that one earlier. Just a second, let me get it back up. Yeah, it was we had a test helium ox 1. Both the left and the right tank went out at one time. At the current time, the right tank is out high. The right pod.
Okay, Cripp, I hate to trouble you, but could you say that one more time, please?
Yes, sir. It's the on-pod test, helium/ox 1. On the right pod, it's currently out of limits at 902. The left pod is currently reading 885, and it had earlier been out of limits high.
Okay, we copy that.
And also, at one point in the day, we had the ohms cross-feed bulkhead mid out low, and then it came back up.
Okay, we got that, and we'd like to confirm that you inhibited the LH2 manifold pressure.
That's affirmative. Parameter 79.
Okay, what we're trying to do is get all the atoms crossed out, so we hope you won't get awakened tonight.
Okay. Also, it looks like I've got a deucer that's off-scale low on the propellant thermal. It's a GSE servicing panel for the right pod, and it's reading off-scale low.
Okay, we copy that, and we don't think that's going to be a problem.
No, that's been sitting there steady, so it hadn't been coming in and out.
Columbia, Houston, we're about 1 minute to LOS. Botswana is next at 10:01 UHF. And Columbia, Houston in the blind, we need to get the DFI wideband mission off. Columbia, Houston in the blind, check your DAP rate. Columbia, Houston, in the blind, the DFI wideband mission recorder off.
Houston.
And check your DAP rate.
This is Mission Control, Houston. LOS through Quito. Cleaning up some of the flight plan items that were lingering. Some of the checkouts on board the spacecraft. Calibrations of one kind or another. Also some report by Crippen, Bob Crippen, on what appears to be a temperature transducer riding a little high in the right pod, Ohms pod, on the helium and oxygen tank cluster number 1. That, along with some of the other indications, are suspected to be faulty transducers. We're some 19 minutes away from reacquisition through the voice relay station at Botswana, at which time we'll return at 9 hours 41 minutes. This is Mission Control, Houston.
Okay, Hank, I'm coming at you with a flight deck camera.
This is Mission Control again. We have a playback underway now on the onboard TV, just completed during the stateside pass.
Okay, we've got a good picture, Crippen.
Okay, STS status report. The flight so far has gone as smooth as it could possibly go. We've done every test that we're supposed to do, and we're up on the timeline, and the vehicle has just been performing beautifully, much better than anyone ever expected to do on a first flight, and no systems are out of shape. Just an example, we did 3 star tracker alignments in less time than it takes to do 1 star tracker alignment in the mission simulator. And all the RCS jets have been fired, and the vehicle is just performing like a champ. It's really beautiful. And it's delightful up here in zero gravity, might add. Of course, we owe this to a lot of people. There's one in particular I'd like to pay our respects to, who, if he was here now, would really be having a lot of fun. He was a man for the country, and there aren't many like him. Tiger Teague, I guess y'all all know him. And, of course, there's many other people we can pay our respects to. If we start down the line of all the folks we owe, we'd be here till tomorrow. But we certainly want to thank everyone who has helped get this thing airborne, and can take great pride in it's doing so well right now.
Okay, John, sure, we appreciate those comments.
We're going to switch to the back now, and Crippen's going to tell you how things went in the back of the ship.
And Cripp, for info, your mother and Jenny and the girls are all in the viewing room watching.
Oh, my gracious. Okay, we're switching over to the aft camera here. Now we're showing the aft deck. How's that picture look to you?
Coming in real good.
Okay, Hank. Yeah, I'd like to echo John's words as I usually do. I guess being the so-called rookie on this flight, I had a thrill from the moment of liftoff all the way up to what we're doing now. It's really been super. The spacecraft has worked as advertised all the way along. A few little minor new problems, but nothing of significance. I guess the major one you guys are working on down there is dealing with some of our instrumentation. But I think we've got something that's really going to mean something to the country and the world. This vehicle is performing like a champ, like all of us that have worked so long on it knew that you would. I guess in acknowledging people that have done a lot for the program, I think it's only right that we mentioned a couple of guys that gave their lives a few weeks ago in our countdown demonstration test, John Bjornstad and Forrest Cole. They believed in the space program. It meant a lot to them. I'm sure they'd be thrilled to see where we have the vehicle now. Our hat is off to those guys. But it's been fun. We think the rest of the mission is looking forward to working with you guys and looking forward to landing in Edwards a couple days from now. And unless you got some questions, Hank, I guess that does it.
That was a good time, and I think you must have practiced. We're just about to lose your ghost on.
Just accident. That doesn't scare you.
We caught that just as anticipated.
Houston contact, Botswana contact, underground.
Houston Comtech on Underground 2.
This is Botswana, contact. Stand by, Botswana.
Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. This is Botswana, contact. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground 2. Stand by, Botswana. Stand by, Botswana. Houston Comtech on Underground
Hunter Voice, Houston, contact Air Ground 2.
Now you're loud and clear.
Roger. Botswana, contact Houston, contact Air Ground 2.
Botswana contact.
Roger. Stand by for H-5 check.
Botswana copy.
Houston, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, end of test.
100% keying, modulation, go.
Roger, configure for your pass.
Botswana copy.
This is Mission Control Houston, about 40 seconds away from acquisition through the voice relay station at Botswana, South Africa. We'll stand by for any comm that comes down from Columbia at this point. Crew should be in their evening meal period at this time.
Columbia, Houston, how do you read?
Loud and clear, Houston. Same here, Hank.
Okay, reading you loud and clear. Did you get the DFI wideband recorder off? We had a little early dropout on the comm last pass.
Yeah, we got it off. We assume you're through the accelerometer, Cal, so we turn the flash back on.
Okay, and on the last data pass, we also saw that the suppress bit for the Y tracker had gotten set again, so whenever it's convenient also to do the IMU line on the Spec 22, we'll need to do the item 15 twice to get the shutter open and back to auto.
Okay, we want it open and then again to get it back to auto, right? Okay.
Roger, we need that to be ready for the next alignment.
Wow, you guys are really playing the end here.
The comm's got sort of a hollow effect to it now. Would you say your last?
It was a humorous remark, Henry. That was a John Young humorous remark. Crippen's down there using the speaker in the midday. That may be a hollow thing.
Okay, whatever that last thing is there, it sounds pretty bad.
The best you can do. Henry, how you read me?
Okay, I'm reading you loud and clear now, Cripp.
Okie dokie, I'm talking at you on the mid-deck speaker mic. What you missed was a John Young humorous remark.
Not sure I copied that either. We got about 40 seconds to LOS, and did you happen to get the sound level data taken?
Yes, it is. It's all taken. When you say it's the line, I think there's a worse than this is
Columbia Houston, that last bit was totally unintelligible. Might see you at Indy at 10:12. It's a very low angle pass. If we don't see you there, Hawaii is coming at 10:48.
Okay, we'll see you there.
This is Mission Control Houston. Loss of signal through Botswana. 5 minutes to extremely low elevation angle pass over Indian Ocean Station. In 4 minutes 50 seconds. The comm was fairly ragged during that pass over Botswana. Much of the downlink voice from Columbia was totally unreadable. We'll be back at Indian Ocean Station in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. At 10 hours 7 minutes elapsed time, Mission Control Houston.
Columbia, Houston, through Indy for 2.5 minutes. How do you read?
Read you loud and clear, Henry. How are you?
Okay, reading you much better now. Botswana was a little ratty. You folks happen to see any aurora on this last pass through the South Atlantic?
You're down in the barrel there, but we haven't had a chance to look for any auroral. We didn't have any fire warning lights, if that's what you mean.
Okay, if it's convenient, I'd like somebody to call up SM Spec 89 and give us a readout on the ohms pod test, helium ox number 1 right, and the same for the left, and get those temps.
Okay. That's in work. What temperatures do you want, Crippen, Henry?
Ohms pod test, helium ox number 1 right and left.
Okay, the number 1.
Number 1's reading 903, the left is reading 84.
Okay, we copy.
And Hank, I can give you the sound level meter survey if you'd like.
Okay, we got about 45 seconds. If you can shoot it in at that time, and Hawaii's next at 10:48. We'll listen.
Roger, I'm giving you the alpha readings for the following locations. For location alpha, the reading was 60 dB. For Bravo, it was 66. For Charlie, it was 67. For Delta, it was 67. Over.
Okay, we copy that.
Okay, and Henry, we're all healthy, so if you need that Hawaii pass for something besides medical, you got it.
And we're about 3 seconds from LOS. Hawaii's next at 10:48.
Okay.
This is Mission Control Houston. A brief pass there at Indian Ocean Station. We're 31 minutes now from next pass through Hawaii. Missed the States this time around. Start picking up Santiago, Chile on this 8th orbit. Back in 31 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston.
Columbia, Houston to Hawaii for the next 2.5 minutes.
Loud clear, Henry.
Okay, reading you loud and clear, and we got a few little items for you. We told you earlier about the increased solar flare activity on the aurora, and we have a request to take several photos. And I have that data for you if you're ready to copy.
Go ahead, Henry.
Okay, the take time would be approximately 11:18 MET, looking south immediately after the sun disk is below the horizon. I want you to use the 70 millimeter camera, the 80 millimeter lens, CH01 film, f-stop of 2.8, 1 second, focus to infinity, and take 2 to 3 exposures. That film is the one with the yellow decal. I think it's what you used on the payload bay doors.
Okay, Henry, does this take precedence over the COAS Cal verification?
That's a negative. We were thinking you might could whip that in before you did the COAS Cal. Your state vector is good. It should be good through the sleep period. And for info, IMU number 2 is your best IMU.
Okay, thank you. I think I missed that. Did you say the nav state is good, should be good through the sleep period?
That's probably sleep period plus. We're about 1 minute to LOS. Santiago is next at 11:13. One other little cleanup for the sleep period. We noted that the APU-1 tank fuel line heaters are beginning to act a little erratic. So in order that we don't get an alarm during the sleep period, back on A12, we would like for you to take APU tank fuel line water system heater 1 Bravo to 1 Alpha auto. In other words, take 1 Bravo off, 1A Alpha to auto.
Okay.
Columbia Houston, as you go LOS, we see the suppression bit set on the Y tracker again. You'll have to run through your item 15 procedure again, and if you have trouble keeping the shutter open, just go ahead and leave it manually open until you get through with alignment.
Okay, I understand.
This is Mission Control, Houston. 10 hours 52 minutes after launch of Columbia. This particular pass over Hawaii was to have been private medical communication between the crew and the surgeon on this team, Dr. Mike Dungo. However, it was scrubbed. The flight plan calls for it if required. Apparently it was not. Currently, Columbia is in an orbit measuring 146.3 at perigee. That's nautical miles by 149.2 at apogee. Period of orbit is 89 minutes, 54.8 seconds. Inclination 40.2 degrees to the equator. Cabin pressure 14.7 psi, which is about the same as it is at sea level. Partial pressure of oxygen 3 pounds per square inch. Cabin temperature now showing 79.2. That seems awfully hot. This may be a bad number on the display. We're 19 minutes away from Santiago, Chile. Crew winding up the day's activities, cleaning up some minor flight plan items in preparation for the sleep period that begins at 13 hours, a little over 2 hours from now. This is Mission Control Houston at 10 hours 53 minutes into the voyage of Columbia.
Columbia Houston through Santiago for the next 6 minutes. We've got Timboo's coming up to you. Your state vector is good. We will not be updating it. We've got a couple other items for you.
Okay. Go ahead, Houston.
Okay, when you get ready to do your pre-sleep fuel cell purge, just a little note that we've noticed that the temperatures are almost there, so as soon as you turn the heater on, you might check. You may not have to wait the full 27 minutes.
Okay, what do you want for temp then?
Well, the temps on that are called out on your procedure there is the ones we want.
Okay. It normally just tells us to wait. Right, we'll do that.
Okay, all I was saying there, Crippen, is that 2 of them are over the limits already. The only one that's might be down is the H2T2. Okay, on the PPO2A and PPO2B, because the cabin is not leaking down as fast from the high pressure we had at liftoff, we want to reset the limits. And they're on page 4-9 and 4-10 in the reference checklist. And the limit we want to set to is 2.7, the lower limit. And that's also 2.70 volts on your hardware caution warning. And that, I think, will keep the thing from going off during the night and waking you up.
Oh, okay, that's for PPO2 Alpha and Bravo. You want to set the limit at 2.7 volts.
Roger, 2.70 volts, and also for 2.7 on the software end of the house.
Roger, we understand.
Also, we've taken a look at the television pictures that you showed us during the payload bay door operations, and the guys have made a pretty careful examination of that to try to identify a missing tile. Now, some of the areas they looked at, they eliminated as tiles not missing, and then some of the portions they have determined that there are some tiles missing. Because these are the thin, compound curve, non-critical dice tile, well, we feel that they're not critical. The missing tile portions on the pod, we don't think will be a concern during the entry, and the structural integrity is going to be maintained. Now, they base this analysis based on the wind tunnel data that they had previously to determine the local heating and heat transfer analysis. And from this, they calculated the remaining ship surface and graphite epoxy skin temperatures. And also, they used the data from the test they made here at JSC on the arc jets. Anyhow, the bottom line is that we think there's no real problem at all with the pieces of tile or tiles that seem to be missing, that we think might be missing off of the pod there, and we don't plan to make any changes to the entry flight plan because of the tile loss.
Okay, Henry, you could have saved all that for your intermission press conference. Sounds good to us. We don't think it's a problem either. Hey, Hank, also, you guys had me switch that feed a while ago on APU-1. I had the pump-in temp pump up to about 120 degrees and trigger alarm while ago, and then come right back down after we'd already switched heaters, just for your information.
Okay, we copy that, and we have some a teleprinter message coming up to you that we would like for you to take a look at your earliest convenience. Have you heard the thing pecking away up there?
Yeah, we certainly have. I think you've got several down there. I hadn't had time to go look at it. We're coming up on this photograph time, and it's nice and dark out there. You don't want me to take anything unless I see something, do you?
Say again your last?
It's coming up on this time of taking the photograph that you requested of the aurora activity, and I can't see anything but dark right now. I'm assuming that you don't want me to take any photograph with just pitch black.
That's affirmative. I guess pictures of black don't do us much good.
There's a little lightning going on down there, and I can see some cities. But I don't see anything that looks like any aurora activity.
Okay, we copy that, and we suggest that you probably ought to clean up that teleprinter traffic there as soon as you get to it.
Well, okay, Hank. I got to take pictures. I got to get teleprompter activity. We got to take stars.
Okay, as long as if there's nothing but black out there, there's no need to take any pictures. And Botswana is our next site at 11:35, and we're about 45 seconds from LOS.
Okay, doke.
This is Mission Control, Houston. Loss of signal through Santiago, Chile. 15 minutes away from AOS at Botswana. Bob Crippen was standing by with a loaded camera to shoot aurora out the window, but it was pitch black outside. He saw no future in shooting blackness, so he decided not to take any pictures, and of course the ground agreed with that. I suppose in the southern hemisphere that would be Aurora Australis instead of Aurora Borealis, if I remember my geography or whatever that category falls into. At 11:20, mission elapsed time 14 minutes away from Botswana. Mission Control, Houston.
Indy, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, air-to-ground UHF. Sunnyvale, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, air-to-ground 1.
Houston Comtech, Sunnyvale Comtech, air-to-ground 1.
Roger, stand by for keying and modulation check. Indy, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, air-to-ground UHF.
Stand by, Houston, I'll configure you at this time.
Thank you.
Houston, you're configured air-to-ground 2 at this time.
Thank you. Indy, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, air-to-ground UHF. Indy, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, air-to-ground UHF.
Houston Comtech, Sunnyvale Comtech.
Houston, Comtech.
Ready, Houston, I'm not copying you on air-to-ground 2 to Indy.
Okay, stand by. Indy, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, air-to-ground UHF.
Houston Comtech, Sunnyvale Comtech, air-to-ground 1.
Go ahead, Sunnyvale.
Still only copying you on air-to-ground 1, not air-to-ground 2.
Okay, you're not copying me on air-to-ground 2 at this time?
Affirmative.
Indy, Comtech, Houston, Comtech, air-to-ground UHF. Do you copy?
Indy Comtech copies.
Thank you, Indy. Stand by for keying and modulation checks. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Test out.
Check's good here.
Houston Comtech, Sunnyvale Comtech, air-to-ground 1, copy 100% key, go for modulation.
Thank you very much. Indy and Sunnyvale, configure for your pass, please. Botswana Comtech, this is Houston Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Test out.
Botswana, 100% keying, modulation go.
Thank you, Botswana. Configure for your pass, please.
This is Mission Control, Houston. 11 hours, 34 minutes. Mission elapsed time, about 45 seconds until reacquisition through the Botswana and almost continuous pass into the Indian Ocean Station. Slight drop out there between the two. This will be almost the final contact before the crew gets into their sleep period. We still have Hawaii and Santiago to go after this, and then the crew at 13 hours ground elapsed time is scheduled to turn out the lights, put on their blindfolds, and put in their earplugs. 7 seconds to AOS at Botswana.
Columbia, Houston to Botswana for the next 7 minutes. I got a couple items for you.
Okay, go.
Okay, Richard was looking at that circuit breaker on the DFI PCM recorder in the SMS. We're trying to think ahead. We don't know whether we're going to be able to use that or not, but if it were possible that they had a way to pop that circuit breaker in and while you were in the seat, we may be able to use it on entry and punch it in at the right place. And he went over and he found that with a swivel stick, he could indeed reach around behind the seat and push that circuit breaker in. And what we're suggesting is tomorrow maybe doing the rehearsal after you get suited up. If you got time, you might scoot up there and strap into the seat and use that swivel stick and see what you can do with it.
Okay, go.
Columbia, Houston, did you copy all that regarding the circuit breaker?
Yes, we did. Yeah, I don't know whether, I guess we could try. I guess, Hank, I missed most of that since I'm the one that has to do it. You're suggesting sticking in that circuit breaker for the recorder with the swivel stick after we're strapped in the seat. Is that affirmative?
That's right, Cribb. We don't know that we want to do that yet. We don't have a plan, but we thought that during tomorrow's rehearsal, if it was convenient to find out whether you could do that or not when you were suited, it would at least give us a data point from with which to work. Richard went over and tried it in the SMS, and he could do it. He could reach it with the swivel stick by turning around in the seat, unsuited now, of course, and pop it in. He doesn't know how it would work out with the suit on.
Okay. If it's not possible, just go ahead and turn the master DFI recorder off. Master DFI power. Are you worried about that resetting the recorder or what?
It's just for the recorder ops, and we still don't have a management plan for it, Cripp. We were just thinking that it was convenient to get that data point. It might influence the final plan.
Okay, I suggest, are you guys on tomorrow when we do the suit ingress, or is Bud and the Crimson team on?
I think we come on just about that time.
Well, okay. Somebody better remind me of that at that time. Also, Hank, I've got all the message traffic out now, and we've looked everything over.
Okay, real good. We've got a few minutes left here. I thought I might just give you a little bit of a status here on where we are, we think. Some of these things you're already aware of, and they're really little nits, which I'm happy that they're only nits. On Eagle, we've got the DSC OF1 and 4 B power supply. That's that circuit breaker in 015 that's popped. We still haven't decided whether we want to try to do that or not. We've looked back, and there may have been some temporary current spikes that could have been a short. We're not sure. You're aware that the fuel cell requires manual purge because the flow limits are not exactly right in the auto purge, and we'll, of course, correct that for the next flight. On the aft main C bus there, we've got that one transducer that's reading off high, reading about 173 amps is what we show. I think you said 190 something, but anyhow, it's the only one there that's not right. On the comm side of the house, you're aware that our UHF seems to be attitude dependent, at least for the downlink. And then we got the DFI PCM recorder stuck in continuous record. And ECOM side, we have the FES feedline heater on A. 1A is bad, and I think it was that way before we lifted off. On G&C, we still got the problem with the Y tracker. Seems to be getting that suppressed bit, target suppressed bit, set every once in a while. You have to use that item 15 to reset it. We're not sure why that's happening. On the consumables, you're in Fat City. Everything is nominal or just close to it, and that's real good as far as we're concerned. We've got some fuel and oxidizer gauging problems on the ohms, which you're aware of, and most of those are not very big. I think that just about sums it up, unless you got some questions.
I think I cut you out when you were talking about comm. You said something about downlink there that I didn't get. Would you go review with me the comm stuff?
Not a biggie there, Cripp. What we already know is that it seems that the downlink or voice from you is influenced by the vehicle attitude. In other words, when you're when your head's down, we don't seem to be able to get a good signal. If we had a UHF antenna in the payload bay, we'd be in good shape.
We're incidentally receiving you excellent on all those. Doesn't seem to make any difference, y'all coming up.
That's fine, but I think there's no problem with the uplink and you receiving. It's just that we have a hard time receiving you sometimes. And that's UHF only, of course.
Yeah, Hank, we understand.
And we're about 40 seconds from LOS. Indian Ocean comes up next at 11:43.
Okay, Hank, see you there.
Columbia, Houston, we're with you again through Indy for the next 8 minutes, and be advised we have a keyhole about 4 minutes into this pass.
Okay.
Columbia, Houston, one thing we're curious about, if you've had your UHF on, have you picked up any interference on the UHF link anywhere?
I picked up stuff only momentarily, Hank, when it went right away. It wasn't even loud enough to hear who it was. And I haven't heard anything.
Okay, we copy. Columbia, Houston, if it's convenient, could you give us a CRT on GNC, Spec 1? We want to change one of the variable parameter down lists for a quick look, a snapshot, and then we'll put it back.
Okay, we'll put it on CRT too. Okay, you have it up.
Thank you.
One item of interest I would be interested in, I didn't get a chance to double confirm it, but do you know what the max KW we saw on Ascent today was?
The highest number we saw during ascent grip was 24.5.
All right.
Going into keyhole, Columbia. Columbia, Houston, you've probably been seeing the loads yourself, but we've been averaging about 15 kW, I guess, here mostly on orbit. In fact, all along, we've been running somewhat under what we predicted pre-flight. I think it's probably due to the thermal balance. We don't seem to be having as many heaters on. As you notice from all the alerts you got, things have been running warmer than we anticipated.
My wife's hair dryer takes more juice than that.
The CRT's yours.
Okie doke. It means if he had 10 wives, they'd take more juice than that. Right, that's what I meant.
Roger, we copy that. Columbia, Houston, we're 1 minute to LOS. Hawaii's next at 12:21. And for info, we just sent up Simbu and the accelerometer bias. For info, the largest bias was 60.7 micro Gs on the number 2 IMU y-axis.
That sounds great, Henry. I didn't know you guys could measure 60 micro Gs.
They measured 60.7.
Oh.
Correction, 60.07.
This is Mission Control, Houston. LOS from the Indian Ocean Station, 28 minutes to next station at Hawaii. Fairly long pass at Hawaii, elevation 68 degrees, or 60, it's hard to tell from this distance. Some discussion there on the performance of the fuel cells during the just completed Indian Ocean pass and preceding Botswana pass. Currently, the last data shows that the fuel cells are generating a total of 14.17 kilowatts and 462 amps. I guess that's the way that's read. Unless that should be 46.2. There's a missing decimal in there. Back in 27 minutes at Hawaii. This is mission control at 11 hours 53 minutes. Round elapsed time.
Hawaii Comtech, this is Houston Comtech, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Test out.
Houston Comtech, Hawaii Comtech. We had a good test.
Okay, you had 100% keying and modulation is go.
That's affirmative.
Thank you, Hawaii. Configure for your pass, please.
This is Mission Control Houston. 45 seconds until acquisition through the Hawaii tracking station. Relatively high angle pass of 7.5 minutes. Should be getting acquisition in less than a minute. Standing by at 12 hours 20 minutes. Elapsed time into the voyage of spacecraft Columbia.
Columbia, Houston to Hawaii for the next 7.5 minutes, and we've got some Timbus coming up to you and a couple of more items.
Okay, Hank, we're standing by for the Timbus, and we can, that voice for message 6 is at 12:07 on the tape, and we're standing by for your playback.
Roger, we copy that.
And go ahead, Hank.
Stand by on the... Okay, we got a good RF lock now, and we would like to get, if you get that started, and we've got the IMU align results that we'd like to get from you.
Okay, and what was the last you wanted, the IMU alignment results?
Yes, we just wanted to get the results from the IMU line, and we do have a good RF link.
Okay, it's playing.
And the Timbu is on board.
Okay, the IMUs were torqued at 10:59:45, and this is X, Y, and Z for IMUs 1, 2, and 3. Minus 09, minus 07, plus 06, plus 0.14, plus 0.06, plus 0.07, plus 0.02, minus 0.05, minus 0.27 at 10:59:45.
Okay, we copied that.
And the co-ass line cal verified that because the angular error was 01 and the torquing angles were all less than 0.05 of a degree.
Roger, copy that.
At least I think it helped verify it.
Columbia, Houston, we've been watching the ohms crossfeed lines temps, and they're going a little low on 814. We would like to get the ohms crossfeed line heater B auto on, B auto.
Okay, and you want to leave A auto on also, is that right?
Stand by one. Hold on on that, Crippen.
Okay, B auto's coming back off.
Columbia, Houston, have you got anything you have for us before Santiago, which is the next pass, last pass of the evening?
No, sir, I don't think so. Can't think of anything.
Okay, are you going to keep the air-to-ground I mean, the UHF on tonight. I assume you're going to turn the air-to-ground 2 off because of the noise.
Roger that. Plan to sleep on with air-to-ground 1 and uniform.
Okay, we copy that. Columbia, Houston, CNC requests that you display depth errors during the sleep period.
What do you mean? If you want us to just leave an orbit display available? Or, depth errors. Okay, sure, we'll give you that.
Thank you, sir. We got your dump, and we thank you. We got about 1 minute LOS. We think we're in pretty good shape for the sleep period. Santiago is the next pass at 12:48. We're going to give the first couple of minutes to that pass. The surgeon wants to talk to you, and then we'll tag up with you for good night.
Okay.
And Columbia, Houston, as you go over hill, you can power down the data dump.
Say again, that one?
Roger, you can shut down the dump.
Roger that.
This is Mission Control, Houston. Loss of signal at Hawaii, 18 minutes away from the final pass of the evening, in which the crew will be awake at Santiago. Tidying up the spacecraft now for the sleep period. Crippen will be monitoring the air-ground with the headset on. We'll return in 18 minutes for the Santiago pass at 12 hours 30 minutes elapsed time. Mission Control, Houston. This is Mission Control, Houston. About 13 seconds from acquisition through Santiago, Chile. Final pass of the evening before Crippen and Young bed down for the night. There'll be a last exchange here between spacecraft communicator Hank Hartsfield and the crew of Columbia. 10 minutes away from the beginning of sleep period. Standing by. This is a 5.5 minute pass.
Columbia, Houston, we're back with you for about 4 minutes.
Okay, Hank. And we got our fuel cell purge out of the road. We're running a couple of items a little bit behind here. I've still got to get that LIO change out done. And I've got the purge heater still on to bake it out. Let's see, I guess based on the 55-minute time, I was counting on turning it off at about 13:40. Unless you guys advise me I could turn it off earlier than that.
Okay, we'll look at that, and we have decided that we need to get that ohms crossfeed line heater to B auto. We also want to leave A auto on.
Okay, we'll do that.
We also see that the suppress bit is set again on the Y tracker. That's just for info, no action required.
Yeah, I'm afraid that GNC is just not going to get his data off that booger. We'll give you, before we go over the hill, we'll reset it for you. You got any other goodies for us, Hank?
30-minute bakeout will be good enough on that heater for the purge. And the purge did look good to us. Just for info, we did get a bias calculated for IMU number 3. We'll have to do number 1 and 2 tomorrow after we get in alignment, but it was small. The worst case on the gyro was 0.03 degrees per hour, which is about 1 sigma.
Fantastic. Sounds good. Okay, your bits are reset there. You ought to get some data, I reckon. Maybe.
And for info, we're recording data only now, no voice. And I guess we owe you guys one super attaboy for today. This is fantastic. You worked through a pretty long, hard day, and you're essentially right on schedule, which is going to be close to being a first for the spaceflight biz, I think, for first day activities.
Tim Soup didn't hardly put anything in on us today. Do you want me to reconfigure audio center back here in the back then? That's the real sim soup, and we'd appreciate it if she don't put anything in on us anymore either.
This is not a sim. You don't need to reconfigure anything back there.
Well, okay, I didn't know. I thought it was real. I had to take the audio center switches off.
He's commanded the voice off. It's all squared away.
Okay, I got so used to doing it in sims, I thought I had to do it in flight.
There's a couple of things different. You also noticed today that IMU 3 was a good IMU. I mean, the common IMU.
Roger that. Okay, Hank. Let's see. Do I have anything else here I need to tag with you about? I assume I am going to do this SM checkpoint because you guys have hit us with a couple of them today.
Yes, sir. We'd really like you to get that because we really sent up a lot of timbos trying to get all these heaters squared away, and we will be following that up with a teleprinter message. It'll tell you everything that we've done. It's sure been fun working with you today, and we look forward to seeing you in the morning. I hope you get a good night's rest. We got about 20 seconds to go.
Okay, been fun working with the bronze team. You guys did super work today. See you mañana.
Roger. Thank you. See you tomorrow, guys.
This is Mission Control Houston. Loss of signal through Santiago, Chile. Final pass of the evening. Both the ground and the crew reported a good purge in all three fuel cells. And the drift rate on the IMUs is quite low. Spacecraft communicator Hank Hartsfield passed up what he called a super attaboy for a good job done today by Young and Crippen in flying this new spaceship. 15 minutes until acquisition at Botswana. However, the crew will have the audio turned down and will be attempting to go to sleep. At 12 hours 55 minutes into the flight of Columbia. This is Mission Control. This is Mission Control Houston. At 13 hours 3 minutes into the flight of Columbia, during this just completed final pass over Santiago, the flight surgeon on the bronze team, Dr. Mike Dungo, did have a brief private medical conversation with the crew early in that pass. He reports that the crew is in excellent condition. There are no medications were asked for by the crew, nor were any prescribed. He said that couldn't have gone better if he'd written a script for their medical condition at this point. 7 hours and 45 minutes until crew awake. 5 minutes out of Botswana. However, not expecting any air ground at that time. This is Mission Control at 13 hours 4 minutes. This is Mission Control Houston at 14 hours 2 minutes. Ground elapsed time. Final pass of the evening over Hawaii. The crew is asleep at this time. Some 6 hours 47 minutes remaining in their sleep period. All going well aboard Columbia, systems-wise and crew health-wise. Next station in 20 minutes, Santiago, Chile. This is Mission Control at 14:02.